Hey guys, welcome to an Amplify This 200 Productions video. Today we're going to be talking about mixers, in particularly small to medium size desks, mixing desks. So right here we've got a Soundcraft EPM 8, this one is, and this is an analog desk. So we've got 8 channels, 8 mic inputs, so XLR channels, and then we've got 2 stereo channels on this particular desk, making it a 12-channel desk. So what we're going to be doing today is just going through how a sound desk is laid out, and then talk about what functions each part of the desk does. So firstly, we're going to check out the very top up here. So up here on the desk, we have our inputs. Alright, so the black ones up there with the 3 holes, they're called XLR, or they are your microphone inputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug a mic cable into there like that. So that's in channel 2. I just picked a random number. So that one there is what we call the XLR input. Then below it, you can see here we've got a line input. So that allows you to plug a jack, or either a TRS jack or a TS jack, so a guitar cable or a balanced jack cable. So that will allow you to plug in your guitar, acoustic guitar or a bass guitar or keyboards directly into the desk if you are setting up nice and close to the stage. If you're setting up further away from stage, in the ideal, as if you're a sound engineer for a show, then you'd have a multi-core running down to stage, and you'd use a DI box to plug those instruments in instead. But if you're a musician who's just taking a small desk to a gig on a Friday, Saturday night or something like that, then yeah, you can plug straight into the desk there. So you notice now there's a jack below the line input. Here, this is an insert. So we've got an insert on each channel there. And that will allow you to insert outboard effects. So you might want to put in a delay or a reverb or compression over that particular channel. So that allows you to do that. Cool. So we're going to go down a little bit now. We're going to go to these red knobs on this desk. These are called the gain. So the gain is the input volume into your channel. So every desk, no matter what sort of desk it is, it will have a gain. So they are usually white in colour, and they're always at the top of the desk. But in this case, Soundcraft have gone a bit crazy on us, and they've coloured it red. So essentially, if we want, so the more towards the left it is, so at 7 o'clock there on the dial, then that is low gain, really low gain, and then turn it all the way around, and that's a really high gain. So that just depends on your input. Alright, so now what we're going to do is have a look at what that gain does. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to our meters on the desk. So I'm going to push this white button called the PFL in. So the PFL is the pre-fade level, and that will allow us to have a look at our meters here. Just going to zoom in on our meters a little bit, and then if I grab a microphone, here we go. So I'm just using a Shure 58. So if I talk into that Shure 58, and then I'm going to increase the gain on that channel 2, so I'm turning the gain knob up, and you can see there the levels are getting bigger and bigger. So now if I keep going, and I'm eventually peaking, and that's bad. We don't want it to peak. That means it's too hot, too much input going in. So we're going to back that off. It's nice to just hit the orange. And that will allow heaps of headroom if we get really loud, and it will still pick up even the softest sounds. So that is the gain there. So gain can be a little bit tricky to understand as well. So I'm going to show you with the microphone what the gain can do. So the gain boosts volume. So if you've got really low gain, you're going to have to get in nice and close to this microphone. The sound source to the mic will need to be really close. And it'll be as loud as the sound source is. So if we expand the gain, that's going to give you a much larger area that the mic's going to pick up. But the closer you are to the mic, the louder it's going to be. The further away from the mic, the quieter it's going to be. Okay, but the more gain, the further that that will expand out. So it'll get louder and louder as you go out more, but still the loudest point will be right on the capsule of the microphone. So the gain, is your input volume or your input level. Cool, so we're going to go down to the next part of the desk here. So I'll just straighten this camera up a little bit. Cool, so we're going to check out this section through here. This is called our EQ. So on this particular desk, and every desk will have a EQ. Typically we have parametric EQs on each of the channels. As we can see here, we've got each channel has a parametric EQ. So typically on small desks and medium-sized desks, we will only have we'll have a high, mid, and a low. Okay. Some desks have two lots of mids, but this particular desk we've only got one mid-range EQ that we can work with. So this knob up here is the gain for the high frequencies. So we can boost the high frequencies, or we can cut the high frequencies there. So that frequency is set. I'm not sure off the top of my head what that frequency is set to on this particular desk, but it will be in the high end of the audio spectrum. Okay, so now we're going to check out the mid-range. So the mid-range is a little bit different. We've got our boost and cut here with this knob, but we've got this white knob, and this is the frequency knob, and that allows us to select frequencies from 150 Hertz right the way through to 3.5K on this desk. So if we select a frequency that's really bugging us, we can cut that. And that'll make that instrument or voice sound a little bit better. So if it was acoustic guitar, I know, for example, my acoustic guitar, which is a Maton, I like having the frequencies cut around there, which is, 1.5, 2K, somewhere around there. So that'll be cut there just to, add a little bit of resonance to it, or get rid of that the sound that I don't want in there. Okay, so finally we've got the bass gain knob. So this is once again a set frequency. So it's normally set around the 100 Hertz mark. So what we can do then is boost the low end, or we can cut the low end. Okay, so don't have too much play with that, but yeah, you can boost the lows or cut the lows. So on bigger desks, you get more choice. So once you start getting to the real digital sort of desks, then you'll be able to change all the parameters of your EQ. But for simple shows, you can get this EQ is perfect for that. Cool. So now we're going to check out the next little part of the desk. So down here we have auxiliaries. So we've got auxiliary 1 and auxiliary 2 on this particular desk. Some desks only have 1, some desks have 4. Just really does depend on what sort of desk you've got. Typically you'll find 2 on most desks at least. So auxiliaries will allow us to have foldback sends. So we can have a singer's foldback on the wedges there, and we might have side fill. So yeah, something along those lines. So we can balance and create a mix of what we'd like. Cool, and now we're coming down to our yellow knobs here, which are our pan. So we can pan right to left. So as you can see over here, I've set this up for a keyboard. So we've got one side panned hard left, one side panned hard right. So that will give us that stereo imaging of the keyboard. Alright, so that's those ones, and then below there we've already talked about the white knob, the greyish knob down here. This is the PFL, and right next to it you've got the mute button, which is the red. So they're fairly important buttons there. Cool, so now if we go up to the top here, we've got two XLR outs here. So we've got a mix left and a mix right, or an output left, output right. So for this demonstration I'm just going to use one side. So I've got my output, this is going to my speakers, or my amp for the speakers. So I'm going to plug that into the left side here. And now all our mix is going to be going to those speakers. Cool, and while we're on this side of the desk, we can see our two stereo inputs here. So we can have computer or laptop, iPod, iPhone, or a music playing device plugged into there. Alternatively, if you're using up all your channels and you've got a keyboard, you can plug a keyboard straight into there as well, left and right, and just use one fader for that one. This little knob here. So this here is our phantom power. This is really important. So if we put the phantom power on, that'll allow us to use DI boxes, power the DI box, but also it'll allow us to power condenser microphones. And then right next to it we've got our headphone jack, so we can plug our headphones in to listen to our mix. Finally, we come to our faders. Alright, so we've got all our channels 1 through to 8 for the mic inputs, the inputs out of XLR, and then we've got 2 stereo inputs, then we've got our masters. Alright, so if we're doing a show, these will be your output volume. This will be your mix, essentially. So assuming that you've got all your input levels set, you can now mix your band. So you might have kick, snare, an overhead, bass guitar, keys, you might have a couple of vocals here, something along those lines. So let's just say that you've got a really good mix happening, it's sounding awesome. We'll bring our masters up. Cool. So that's your mix right there. So if that mix is sounding awesome and throughout the night you're starting to lose it because there's getting more crowd in there, you can just boost your masters and bring them up. So it's an easier way to boost the overall volume of your output, given that you're not peaking through your meters. But yeah, that just saves you having to, if you've got a good mix going and it's sounding awesome, then instead of changing everything by a little bit, just boost the overall thing with the master volume. But if you are having troubles getting some sort the vocals in particularly over, have a think about why you can't hear the vocals, and think about cutting the frequencies or the instruments down, bring the instruments down a little bit that are overpowering the vocals. So that is a basic layout of a mixing desk. They do get more complicated than this, just a few extra features, but essentially they're all the same. So yeah, this has been an Amplify This 200 Productions video. If you've got any questions about Analog Desk or would like to leave a comment, please feel free to below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.